versus a normal Toyota Sienna that's on the road?
Yeah, we're retiring the Toyota Sienna, the accessible Toyota Siennas, in about 2 years. I mean, we have a normal lifespan, and the TLC allows 3 years, which is what Crown Victorias and the hybrids are getting. We're finding that we're getting 2.5 years. It requires more maintenance. Some are doing better than others, but less than. In fact, the rules now state that if you have the accessible or the hybrid, you could get 5 years. We're not getting anything close to that on the accessibles. They take more and more wear and tear. It's important to note that all of these products are aftermarket products. These have all been modified from their dealers, from the manufacturers. These are not a pure Toyota product by any stretch, or a pure Dodge product. This has been after modified. Those modifications so far take tolls on the integrity of the vehicle.
Is the wear and tear coming from the fact that they've been modified by a company like Freedom Motors or a company like Autovan? Is that where the wear?
Well, we believe so, and some of those manufacturers have since gone out of business. We've had issues with them. We've had lawsuits with certain of those manufacturers, which I would state off the record to you about where we are with that. But some of these aftermarket products have not been very good.
And then just finally, I don't want to get into the Central Dispatch. I think we both know it was an utter disaster and really did not help the disabled community, nor did it help your drivers. But the $10,000 tax credit that is currently on the books for converting a vehicle to an accessible vehicle, are you guys able to access that? Are your owners able to access it? Are they able to take advantage of that?
It depends, because you're supposed to the tax credit. There have been owner incentives that we've not been able to take advantage of. We've not been able to take advantage of a lot of the dealer incentives because these are aftermarket products. The tax incentives, I believe, they're taking advantage of.
Well, if they have the TLC has their way, we're going to get rid of dealers through this RFP. And I just sort of do you think there is a way, from your vast knowledge in the taxi industry, do you think this RFP can work?
I hope it works. We want it to work. We want this program to work, but we want it to work correctly. What we're looking for is the vehicle that will sustain both goals. So far, we haven't found exactly the right vehicle, but we keep looking. We have a vested interest in making it work. We have medallions that are limited to use of accessible vehicles. So we have done everything we can to try to find the proper vehicle, whether the TLC finds it or not.
One last question. Would you guys, with the Greater New York Taxi Association, have any issue, whether the TLC mandates it or not, installing equipment like hearing induction loops for people with low and no hearing, or doing some sort of universal design with your TV screens, making sure that people with low and no vision have access to be able to use the taxis?
No objection at all.
Thank you, Mr. Gerber.
Your fleet, or the fleets that you represent, are all accessible?
No. Excuse me. No, we represent in our group. We have one fleet that is exclusively hybrid. I believe it was the first fleet in New York City. I believe one other, which is a member of MTBOT, recently became 100% hybrid. But we had the first. It's the RMT fleet managed by the Yakul family. That is 100% hybrid. They don't have an accessible car, but they have 100% hybrid vehicles, and we own and operate many hybrid vehicles. We actually, I believe, own virtually all of the limited use hybrid vehicles, or the vast majority of them.
The average taxi, the Crown Victoria that people use, what's the price of that vehicle? If you know,
I'm not sure. I'm sure the MTBOT. $23,000 to $24,000.
Okay, and
not including
when you purchase, what is the price of the adapted accessible vehicle?
Considerably more, $6,000 to $8,000 more.
$6,000 to $8,000 more, and this tax credit that is available if you acquire this adapted vehicle, can you utilize the credit?
We've had problems utilizing the credit, but I'll get that to you in a report. I have to look into it a little bit more.
Okay, I mean, you know, it would seem that that if there was a mandate to use the vehicles, to put, you know, after a certain date, Mr. Kellner's bill, to put the vehicles, the accessible vehicles in service after a certain date, and the tax credit was available and utilizable, then the incremental cost of the vehicle ought to be covered by the credit. The credit is supposed to be $10,000. So theoretically, there would not be an extra cost to the purchaser.
I'll get back to you on that with talking with the accountants. There are some
There's
tax
problems. All right,
ramifications with that
you know,
that have
maybe-
arisen that I know about, but I'd like to brief that with the CPAs before I discuss it with you.
One thing about the Taxis of Tomorrow program is that it creates a certain level of uncertainty for the industry, not knowing what vehicle is going to be required to be purchased.
It's absolutely true.
And so, so if you wanted to buy a new vehicle that had been adapted, that was wheelchair accessible, 2 years from now, and then you find, or, you know, at some point, and then it is determined that that's not going to be the appropriate or the legal vehicle for you to have 4 years from now, then you would not have an incentive to purchase any new wheelchair accessible vehicles for some time until you're, I mean, isn't this Taxi of Tomorrow program putting everybody in
I think
very
there is
uncertain
a
situation?
sit and wait. There is a sit and wait mode. I just wanted to, well, you got me thinking on another point. You asked the question, or someone asked, I'm not sure if it was you or someone Kellner, but asked the question about why people are choosing, why there's more hybrids and more accessibles. And I think there were two excellent points. One got raised and one didn't. One is clearly that having to participate in this dispatch program, which proved disastrous to the driver and owners alike, and was extremely unpopular with both drivers and owners, discourages the purchase of the accessible taxis because merely owning the accessible taxi makes it mandatory to be in the program, as the program's now written, or was written. The second issue is, and while Chairman Yaski was correct, that with driver owners there's an incentive, there's also an incentive by owners to get cars that are popular with the drivers. And the fuel-efficient cars were more popular with the drivers, especially last summer and the summer before that, when the prices were outrageous of gasoline. Getting the hybrids out, we found was actually very successful with the drivers and very popular with them. So they would choose to go to our garages that have hybrids because they would save money on their shift. Simple as that. The accessible cars are not the most fuel efficient. There are some problems with them. They're noisy or they rattle because they've got the wheelchair ramps, the cages in them. The hybrids are quieter than normal cars. So the drivers tend to prefer them, certainly to the accessible cars.
Count, Micah, any more? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for
Appreciate
your
your testimony
invitation.
and appreciate your organization's efforts in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, our next witness is Peter Mazer, Metropolitan Taxi Cab Board of Trade. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Good morning. My name is Peter Mazer, and I'm General Counsel to the Metropolitan